What's up, manga fans? Welcome back to another review of Bleach. This week's chapter 623 against the Judgement. Now, the first thing I have to say, Kubo, are you actually going to let the Shinigami go to the Soul King Palace or not? Because this has been like the fifth interruption or something like that. And as I said, I am a fan of Kubo's trolling. I am not going to lie. Even this is making me laugh. But I'm really hoping this is going to be the last, kind of roundabout, going in circles act from him, because I thought Aizen would have been a final kind of straw, like what he intended to do last time was going to bring it down. But now it seems like a waste of time. The Shinigami are basically back to rebuilding the door that was going to bring them to the Soul King Palace in the first place. So I really do hope there's no more interruptions after this chapter, and they're literally going to go there. Because, as I said, it's kind of ruining the pacing now, and that's the one thing that annoys me, is when the pacing can go a bit sketchy and slow down unnecessarily. So hopefully that's done with. But speaking of trolling, seems like the Troll King God himself got trolled himself in this chapter, and his smug game is gone, as in for now anyway. It was very much cut short, and Mayuri pretty much got one over on him in this chapter, and it kind of made me laugh how quickly that escalated. Like he's gone from sitting on his throne like a god, laughing and trolling, and now he's kind of been restrained and basically somewhat helpless in this chapter. But yeah, that was literally a quick turnaround. As I said, it was actually quite funny. And one thing I also was kind of happy about was what was cleared up for me. Last week's two translations for the chapters kind of confused me, where Aizen said in one that he's going to open up the path to the Soul King Palace. The other one was he's going to shoot it down. This week's chapter, both of the translations said he's going to shoot the Soul King Palace down. So that made sense, and it kind of explains why the Shinigami and everyone don't want him to do it, because the Soul King Palace literally will fall down and obliterate most of Serite. But speaking of that, as I said, Aizen probably was not bluffing when he attempted to do it. His Reiatsu was immense, and I have to thank Koriyaku for stopping Rukia from trying to interfere. I did not want her anywhere near Aizen while he was releasing that kind of Reiatsu. But as I said, it was so unhindered, so like erratic and strong, that even the darkness that was over the dome covering the Serite couldn't like stall it or prevent it from even coming out. And as I said, the shock around him from the faces said it all. But what was funny was his little glory or smug moment was cut short, and the Reiatsu just dissipated in an instant. And Koriyaku was like, "What did you expect? We built these restraints specifically for you. You underestimated it." And Mayuri even cuts in at this point and explains how we can't kill you, we have to shut off your supply with Reiatsu. So no, we can't kill you or shut off your supply of Reiatsu, so this is the best we can do. And I did kind of like the throwback we got with information about Shinigamis and their life source. Mayuri did explain that as long as the Shinigami's heart is beating, their Reiatsu will flow endlessly, constantly. And this is something Rukia said back when Ichigo fought Ground Fisher. It's like your Shinigami's life force is represented by their Reiatsu, so no matter what, sleeping, eating, whatever the hell a Shinigami's doing, their Reiatsu will always flow. And now this is where there's a problem, because there's criminals in the Muken that are technically immortal. They can't be killed in any form or manner, so their Reiatsu and heart will always be flowing and beating. Aizen is like the biggest problem of all, so they literally could only restrain his Reiatsu, as we saw in the other chapters, and push it close to him. And Mayuri even has the ability where he has this little orb where he can alter the degree of the restraints, and obviously increase the amount of pressure, you might as well say, that is holding his Reiatsu back. So it's funny because Aizen really couldn't really do much, and it was funny that he kind of had his last bit of gloating where he said to Mayuri, "Turn your finger restraints up to the max and let's see if it can match my power, my power against your technology." But before he even got a chance to do that, Nananara appears and basically spoils the party, and we finally get to see his power and the name revealed. He was Sternritter U, and his ability or name is the Underbelly, and it basically allows him to analyze Reiatsu and somewhat like alter it and if anything, it turns it against the user and incapacitates them with his morphine pattern. So it's a really weird technique, but it was interesting. And I did guess something like this before, but I thought his ability was going to be called the Understanding, but the Underbelly probably is more fitting, because Nanana literally is looking, the underbelly of whoever he's looking into, looking underneath the skin into the soul, and he's accurately measuring, Reiatsu, giving him the ability to open up the Reiatsu and paralyze them with his morphine pattern. So yeah, it is a fitting name and ability, and I'm glad, Kubo brought that up before Nanana met his demise at the end of this chapter. So obviously Nanana's done this ability on Aizen, but he remains conscious, although somewhat restrained. Bazz B, Lilotto and Giselle arrive, and this is when we're thinking at this point, they're gonna have to fight, because Nanana claims that no one can get in the way of the Majesty. We can't allow you to shoot the Soul King Palace down. So Koryaku is basically prepared for the worst. He realizes the Reiatsu and the orbs are depleted, and we've got to fight these guys. And he even says to no, I guess you're not here to help us then if you've done this. And he's like, no, and I've analyzed all of you Shinigami, so I'm going to paralyze a lot of you, and we've won this. But before he even gets to, we have another interruption. Bazz B gives him a burner finger straight to the back and kills him instantly. And I was like, oh crap, that was unexpected. Even Koryaku said it himself in the chapter. And Bazz B is pretty much lost his loyalty or any sort of devotion to Yhwach. He's orchestrated his own rebellion with the other Sternritters that are still with him, and he said to Koryaku, we have a common problem and a common enemy. The Wonder Rich lies in the shadows of the Serite, so if the Soul King Palace falls, we're screwed as well. So he pretty much says, I'll help you. The Sternritters will help the Shinigami make the door, and in return you'll take us to the Soul King Palace, and so we can kill Yhwach. That's the only deal we have. It's like, we're not allied in that regard, we're not friends. We just have a common enemy, a common problem, and we can solve this because we both have, a situation we need to resolve in the same manner. So it's funny how this turned around, and I'm actually glad Bazz B was the one to do it, because I did like him out of all the Sternritters. His interaction with Renji was hilarious, and I like that he's gone that from being someone who seemed quite devoted to being a Sternritter to instantly dismissing it as like, no, I want revenge now. How could he do this to me? Like, after the Ushuan was used, he's just like, I can't believe this. Is this all we were used for? And you can tell he was outraged, and now he wants his revenge, and rightly so. So it's going to be interesting to see now the Shinigami and the Sternritter join up and hopefully make their way up to the Soul King Palace. But as I said, yeah, other than the whole back and forth, this chapter was enjoyable. That little rebellion at the end definitely made up for it, and Aizen kind of losing his smugness was hilarious as well. Mayuri getting his limelight of one up in him, all of that was enjoyable. So I just hope the pacing will speed up now, and we'll get to see some more action and stuff from now on. But that's more or less I can say about this chapter. It was enjoyable, but let me know what you guys think in the comment box below, and I'll speak to you guys next time. Take care.